Hello, how are you doing? My name is Patrick Riley, and it is nice to meet you all you all that are watching this video. Um, I am putting a face to a name, yes, and I am a little bit nervous, but I am very ready to talk about Brown's theory of cross-cultural values, for it is the theory that I did choose. So I'll dive right in. Bear with me. I have some notes here right in front of me on my phone that I've been taking and things like that. So, Brown's theory of cross cultural values um, is a theory that was kind of coined in 1996. And in my studying and my research, I'm finding that this theory involves how the influence of our values, those things that we hold true to us, um, values, how they affect our career choice, and how we are satisfied in our careers. Um, so when I think about that, I had to look up a definition of values and kind of saw what that was in the context of this, and it says that values, they play an important role in our career development process. They are values. Values are things that we believe, are beliefs that are experienced by individuals as standards that guide how we function. They could be like cognitive structures. They could be behavioral things, affective dimensions as well. I mean, values develop so much in us. Our need to be socially acceptable in ways, and thus our cultural context of individuals. Individual values are the basis of our self evaluation and our evaluation of others, and they play a major, major, major role in our personal goals. They may operate out of awareness, or they may operate out of awareness through a process of how we prioritize those. And the prioritized ones, I'll talk about that here in a couple of minutes, actually, in a second, not even a couple of minutes. Um, so that's the definition of values. That's the importance of values. So we kind of have a clear understanding of what they are and how Brown uses them in this theory. So what he did was he looked at the differences in cultural values among many groups of people. I mean, dominant culture and the culture and a minority, the majority and a minority, basically. Um, so upon looking at those groups, he realized that career counselors, they need to recognize this value orientation because it clearly is one of clients as part of their career identity. And what that means is they need to respect the differences and values because they're critical in interpreting the impact of values in the workplace. Career counselors can also offer respect and understanding for these and other cultural values in helping clients deal with their career issues. It might also be useful for career counselors to interpret those values that um, dominate the workplace for those clients whose worldviews may be incongruent with the dominant culture. Um, so, depending on the acculturation process, it means just how someone is cultured, or how are they adapting, or how they have to adapt, or are they suppressing one culture compared to theirs? Or are they trying to mesh both of them together? That's kind of acculturation. Many clients may very well understand the differences in values of their communities and those in the workplace. So basically, they can keep them separated. The workplace has these values, but then their community has these values. It sounds pretty stressful to me, but it goes on every single day. Um, but a career counselor can help a person understand that the values, work culture is not superior to the community cultures and the community values. I mean, that could be the role of a career counselor as well. Um, so, what Brown also did was he offered several propositions regarding the influence of cross cultural values. Um, he stated that those prior I'm sorry. Sometimes I can't say what I want to say. Those values that are priority, prioritized values are, the ones I said that are the most important, the top notch, the hierarchy, the ones that we just have to have. Don't want to compromise on those type of values. Um, are the most importance of our career choice. However, values are not fully implemented when there are constraints of different cultural values, such as gender or socioeconomic pressures, and all these things prevent some choices. So women, people who have less money, like the poor, you have those who are different racial and ethnic groups, and even those of the same sex, we have them being constrained in choosing occupations that are reflective of their values. The values of collective relationships, lengthy problem solving, and past orientations are not comparable with the current American workplace. Individuals who have these as high priority values, like they just have to have them, they must recognize that their more conflict with external demands. Important aspects of their identities are denied. And I mean, it really doesn't sound right, but it happens. They cannot execute all their values, but must compromise with the expectations of the dominant culture. So Brown goes on to say all these things, how they can affect career behavior. Um, so he says Brown describes specific, repeating myself, ways in which career behavior is affected by the values not shared with the dominant culture. The process of choosing a career includes estimating one's ability and values. Also, the availability of occupational choices. So, if your collective values impede on your individual capacity to make estimations of your ability, because a person's natural inclination is to emphasize the group rather than the self. Particularly, in particular, if you are humble, if you have humility, then, sorry, I'm losing my spot. If you're humble and you have humility, and that is kind of a huge working part of your identity, um, then such things like some of the tests, like the career instruments, um, depending on self-report, will be less accurate for you. So one other thing that collective values do in the workplace is they make dealing with conflict difficult and participating in competitive achievement activities problematic. So an orientation of collective relationships make the evaluations of others more important than self-evaluation, and asserting an opinion different than others is strenuous. The motivation is drained by the pressure of environments attuned to values that are incongruent with personal values. Success in the working world requires a future orientation because tenure and performance require looking ahead and adjusting for tomorrow's expectations, as well as to the present demands. In addition, success is affected by performance evaluation that are made by others who judge you or judge the person in his career, and they have different cultural values. So, what you get is predictions for the future suggest employers may need to offer more accommodations for the personnel. Given the shortage of workers with specific skills, there may be an increased sensitivity to the diversity of the workplace. There even may be a bottom line. So the bottom line reasons to adapt the values of the work environment. You get polarized values. They prevent accommodating collective. They prevent polarized values that would prevent accommodating collective relationships, different time orientations, and various problem solving attitudes will make work environments less compatible for some workers. Maybe work environments could integrate values for the benefit of all workers rather than creating demands that negate the values of the diverse groups. Um, so if we look around America, we could see that it is becoming much more cultured. I mean, we're seeing a lot of diversity, a lot of people that may not look like you and me, may not sound like you and me. I mean, it's just something that's there. So if we start integrating values to benefit all workers, I think that would be huge, and I think Brown is on to something. He goes on to say that we should promote um, true collateral relationships, and that could enhance the productivity in some situations. Maybe a variety of problem-solving orientations could create different solutions and possibly the pressurized time orientation of the workplace could be more adaptable. So, with this theory, career counselors, if they understand this theory and understand the issues with cross-cultural values in the workplace, career counselors can be instrumental in facilitating a client's recognition of how their personal values will conflict with the demands of the workplace. Also, it will help them carefully deal with the value choices required to cope with the workplace attitudes. And I think if we tackle those two things, then we could create a better worker, a better career. But it also should go from top down. So it's a lot of the institutionalized cultural values and things like that that a company was built on has to do some accommodating as well. But career counselors are there to help. And I think Brown's theory of cross-cultural values points that out and gives us some very good solutions to the problem that we have. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.